Good evening and welcome back. I'm Teddy. It is 9:06. I'm trying to get set up for tonight's broadcast. So come on in and grab whatever you'd like. I'm going to grab some Gatorade and water. And as I am setting up, we're going to listen to some background music. It shouldn't take me too long. Shout out to the mob, all my other bears. I call the Grizzlies and the Honey Bears. Please hit the like on your way in as you come into the chat. As a reminder, please be respectful in the chat. You can email me right now at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. I see baby Juju. The sound is good. All right. So let me just turn up the music and I'll be right back. All right, so I think I have at least set up a couple of things. And once again, welcome back to Unwind with Teddy. Tonight, I say what happened, or I didn't come up with a title for this one yet, but I'm sure I will probably change it. D for don't want to argue. How about that one? I could change it. D for I don't want to argue. All right. So let me just start with this. Because the sector has been talking quite a bit about this since yesterday and the day, maybe the night before, I'm not sure. Haven't listened to all the videos. But this would be understanding Maggie's perspective. That would be kind of interesting. People might think that I wouldn't speak on this, but I'd like to attempt it and be respectful. Hang on. And I'm talking about history matters. So that's why I say tonight I don't want to argue. D for don't want to argue. We're following that. I want to understand. People are like, understand, right? So recently, there has been, we'll just say, controversy surrounding comments made by Magic, who is a Haitian Canadian. Some people felt like her remarks, I think some of it was, and I have to say, fair use commentary for education, criticism, news reporting, and entertainment purposes only. But my perspective might be different from others. All right, we're going to have a conversation. It could be brief, I don't know. But as I was saying, there has been some talk, controversy on different panels. And last night, before, and it surrounds these comments, alleged comments made by Maggie. And I said, she is Haitian Canadian. She has told us that. Some people felt that her remarks about Emmett Till were insensitive because I think what was said had to do with it is not her history, or she didn't. That wasn't part of history. All right. And so I think the biggest pushback came because of the sensitivity that maybe some took it. You know, yeah. Black Americans. I'm a Black American. All right. I didn't react about everything until I thought about some things today because, again, it's like, what happened? I didn't, I haven't been listening to everything, but I understand there's a lot more. All right. But before we rush to judgment, I think it's worth asking a different question. What shaped her history? What shaped her history? So I'm going to be thinking of it from that perspective because history shapes identity. It does. And identity shapes perspective. So let's begin with Quebec. All right. We need to begin with Quebec, I think. At least that's where I want to begin. Quebec is one of the 10 provinces in Canada. Think of Quebec as a state. Like I live in Michigan, and so Montreal, Quebec would be like saying Detroit, Michigan. All right. Just so that we are all on the same, have an understanding of that. Some may not have that. And I think it's important. All right. And today, Quebec is home to just over 9 million people, just in that one province, making it Canada's second most populous province. All right. Montreal alone has a population of roughly 2.2 million, making it one of North America's great French-speaking cities. All right. So now let's go back. And I took this, I did some reading, and this is part of history. For nearly 2 centuries, Quebec was deeply influenced by the Catholic Church. All right. Education, healthcare, social services. The church controlled much of daily life. Then came what is now known as the Quiet Revolution. It happened in the 1960s. Talking about in Canada. Quebec. It wasn't violent. It was transformational. So Quebec rapidly modernized. The provincial government expanded public education, the universities, and the civil service. Society became more secular, moving away from the Catholic Church, or just say more secular. And there was a strong effort to build a modern French-speaking Quebec. Let's pause there. Because I asked when I was doing my little quick research, like, why did Haitians immigrate to Canada? And what caused or that part, Quebec, specifically Quebec, that's where we're focused on because we're talking about magic and we're talking about Haitian Canadians for the most part. So I said, all right, so when did they come? The big growth of the population of Haitian that migrated or immigrated to Quebec area. All right. So think about it. At that time, this quiet revolution taking place in Quebec, in that part of, Canada in the 1960s. That created a growing demand for educated French speaking professionals. All right. And it happened about the same time that Haiti was experiencing a very different transformation. So they were kind of just happening around the same time. In 1957, just a year before I was born, Francois Papa Doc Duvalier came to power. Many of you might be, you know, much younger and wouldn't even know about Papa Doc and Baby Doc. Well, I came up and my parents knew about it and I learned it in history too. All right. His dictatorship, we're talking about in Haiti, became increasingly repressive. So, journalists and teachers and doctors and lawyers and professors and civil servants, many of them fled Haiti during the 1960s because of political persecution and fear. All right. And so, for many of them, Quebec was a natural destination. Why? Because they already spoke French. Quebec needed educated French speaking workers. Haitian professionals were looking for safety and opportunity. And those two histories intersected at exactly the right moment. The first large wave of Haitian immigration to Quebec consisted largely of educated professionals, followed later by additional family reunification and working class immigrants. Over time, Haitian communities became an important part of Montreal's culture, educational, and economic life. So let's just stop for a moment. The population, I said, what is it currently in Montreal? 2.2 million. All right. In Montreal, Quebec. Haitian that are Haitian Canadians make up maybe less than 2%, depending on the census. So you're looking at roughly 156,000. All right. In Quebec, in the state. So, but the majority of the Haitian Canadians who live in, I'm just calling it state or province of Quebec, they live in Montreal. All right. Today, that roughly 156,000 Canadians of Haitian origin, and let's not forget, all right? So you have your first generation Haitians of the total 156,000 Haitian Canadians. Around 85,000, let's just round it up numbers, are first generation. They are the ones that immigrated, and then they had children or families. Second generation. So then Maggie was born in Canada, Quebec. I believe that's what she said. So she's a second generation Haitian or Canadian Haitian or Haitian Canadian. All right. Think about the educational system in Quebec, in Canada, and what was taught to the majority of those living in Canada, all right, in Quebec, all right. But let's just think about this. So, first generation versus second generation counts vary depending on whether the source uses immigration status or ethnic origin. So those figures should be viewed as approximate rather than exact. Okay. So I told you that would mean someone like Maggie is generally described as a second generation Haitian Canadian. Now, let's go back even further. Long before Canada existed, long before Haiti became independent, there was the transatlantic slave trade. And between the 16th and 19th centuries, millions of Africans were forcibly transported across Atlantic to the Americas. We know the story. Haiti then was known as Saint Dominique, if I'm pronouncing it correct, or Dominique, or Sen. It's Domingue. I'm sure I could have turned, had Blade read this, but I don't even have him turned on. Okay. Before it was Haiti. And it became one of the wealthiest colonies in the world because of enslaved labor. Then something extraordinary happened. Beginning in 1791, enslaved Haitians launched a revolution. Okay. After years of fighting, Haiti declared independence in 1804, becoming the first Black republic and the first nation established through a successful slave revolt. That's history. But that history is foundational to Haitian identity. All right. It is a source of tremendous national pride. So Haitians are very proud people. because of that history. I will say that. That's what they are known for. Very prideful, very, that's national pride. They can boast that. They had a slave revolt. It was successful, the first one. All right. They can mark that. That's it. And now compare that with African American history. The African American experience includes slavery in the United States, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, sadly, lynching, segregation, the Civil Rights Movement, and Emmett Till, and others. For many Black Americans, Emmett Till represents a defining chapter in their collective memory. I can say our collective memory because I'm a Black American. But someone whose family history centers on Haiti and then later Quebec may have grown up with a different historical narrative. Pause. What is taught in schools here in this country, and some of it has even gone away, narrow when I was coming up, and it's still much available, was Black history and American history, all right? And other history. Any of us, who grew up in here in the United States and was educated here in the United States in primary school and through high school and even college learned Black history. All right. Now, that's not commonly taught in Canada, in Quebec, as part of their education. Their population, their people, their experience, their history is very different that they're going to be taught. All right. And Haitian Canadians are a small part of the larger population of, I'll say, Canada, mostly centered in Montreal and others like Toronto, but the larger portion would be in Quebec. All right. That doesn't mean that Canadians aren't taught as part about American history, but they're taught about Canadian history first in their province, in their government, and the French, the Revolution, and all of that. And then, about American history as part, but then Black history, American Black history, that story, not as broadly as it's taught here. And we know, being here in the United States, what the limitations have been. All right. So just kind of have that as a background. Right. So now, Some people believe that Maggie's comments were insensitive. I haven't heard all of her comments. I'm talking tonight from the perspective. I said, let's start with history. Let's start with that. Let's start Quebec. All right. Others believe that she was simply describing her own historical identity rather than denying anyone else's. So there are people on other sides, both sides, I guess. Those are two different conversations. Maggie is not a Black American. Maggie is a Haitian Canadian who is Black. Her lineage, when I went back, we talked about the transatlantic. By the way, well, maybe we can get into that at some point. The replenishment, and that's what it was considered, of slave labor in Haiti versus slave labor in the United States, in the South, and the beginnings of it, there were more of a need to repopulate or replenish in Haiti. Why? Because of the crops. It was sugar plantations. In the United States and South, it was mostly cotton and tobacco and those kinds of crops. Much more. I don't want to characterize. I'm not talking about the living conditions, but the kind of work and the need to replenish, because they thought of them like that's how it was thought of. Didn't have time to populate the slaves by birth because there was a higher rate of mortality with the Haitian slaves because of the work, the type, the crop. That's just a side note. Whether Maggie's words showed sufficient empathy, because I think that's probably what is, at least my thinking might be, is what people were hearing and what she was saying, and or how she was saying it, conveying. Her perspective is different. There's no way around it. Yes, she can learn it, but her lived experience is not. She didn't grow up in the United States as a Black American. She has a different perspective, no doubt. Even if it's limited, it's going to be different. Her educational system, different. What she was taught, different. What she may have learned and when she learned it, different. When she came along, different age, different. There's a lot of perspective. Even for some here in America, in the United States, for some Black Americans, who are, third generation, and compared to, the first generation or, fourth generation, perspectives are different and passion different. Some have passed away. We're talking about generations. Mhm. But the history and the lived experience being a Black American is very different, because I don't know what it meant to be raised as one, a Haitian Canadian. We're Black, but different origin. Our backgrounds different. They are. Our lived experiences different. That doesn't excuse, in my opinion, this is my opinion, how people are treated. Yes, are treated. However, there have been discussions, and many Black Americans do feel, at least I've had enough conversations over my years to know that from the outside, other Black, non-American Blacks, other immigrants, feel a different way about Black Americans because of what they learn on television and through their media. And they may think that, Black Americans are all this or that, or some of them look down on, Black Americans as being, stereotyped, crime and this or that. I'm not even going to get into it. All right. So very different. And if you take some of that, that's not all of that. That's not all different ethnic groups. I'm talking about what Black ethnic cultural groups, whether they're from Africa, from Caribbeans, from, all over the world, the diaspora, all over, have different opinions and beliefs of Black Americans. And Black Americans also, some have their beliefs about other groups, ethnic groups, Black cultural groups that didn't live the Black experience. And, just like Haitians have, their pride for being the first, to revolt successfully. After that, or before that, there was a lot of, it was terrible under dictatorship. Basically, it was for Haitians, and that makes them, some of them, I don't want to say, I don't paint a broad brush, but many of them do lean on that history to say, they're strong, and, they fought back, and, they were the first, and they, yes, fought off their oppressors, and, built their own. All right. Like they could, plant their own flag, basically, say that they did this. It's a different experience, but it doesn't excuse, even if a person doesn't have full knowledge. None of us do of the history of others, societies and groups, because primarily you're concerned with your own history first, and then learning history of others. Some people are more interested in expanding that and learning about, different cultures and groups, and that I would be, one of them. But do I expect someone who doesn't have my lived experience because they're Black to know everything about what it would mean, or to have the same kind of passion for reparations if they're not a Black American? It's probably not going to be the same as a Black American. This is my opinion, because I'm thinking of my forefathers, my, grandparents and great grandparents, and those who I know were slaves. All right. And that's part of, I think, understanding or just thinking about it in a way that whether people from different Black communities are required to share the same historical identity. Those aren't easy questions. I don't have all the answers. I'm talking about it from, I'm trying to be, kind of even and lay out a little bit of the history and maybe why. Okay. But I do think they're worth discussing. And history doesn't separate us. That's not the point of it, I don't think. Even with all of the discussions, and mine have been limited because, one, I haven't listened to all of the videos. Two, I don't get up on panels and debate them. I try to be, open-minded. I haven't heard everyone's opinion. However, I do have at least a sense, just a little bit, everybody has their own experience. They do. And we can absolutely, we being Black Americans, be very, and we have a right to, sensitive to our history. And if others who didn't have that same shared history, when they're discussing it, they might come off rather, insensitive to that history. And so when she said, allegedly, that's not my history, it isn't her history. Doesn't mean that once she learned it, that she still couldn't have some compassion or thought. So it would mean, all right, how did she say it? Is she saying, that's not my lived experience, I didn't know about it? Or was it more condescending, like, that's not my history, I have, that's yours, I don't know about that? Again, I don't know how it was exactly um, said or meant. Only she knows that. And the people who she said things to. I'm not excusing any of it. What I'm trying to do tonight is just have a conversation and let it begin with a little bit of historical identity, because we don't share the same historical identity, though there's common things we share, even in different regions of this country. There's some differences. There are. But they shouldn't be that broad compared to someone who is from the outside, didn't grow up in the United States, didn't have that experience. Doesn't mean they shouldn't be able to, especially based on their historical background, have some understanding of maybe why we think the way we think. I'm talking about any particular group, but we're talking about Black Americans. So it might come across to Maggie that, oh, they're always talking about racism, or you're always talking about, this or reparations or this or that. That relates to Black Americans. That's because she didn't live that experience. It it has meaning, but I don't think it has the equal amount. Like if it's 100%, for those of us who are Black Americans and you're passionate about it and you believe in reparations, someone from the outside, yeah, they might understand it, their perspective. Are they going to fight for it? Are they going to, debate it like, someone who believes strongly that they're, should fight for reparations? So even if it's, 100% and somebody's over there saying, I support you, but they're 70%. That's not 100%. It's different because they don't have the same experience. And I don't have her experience either. No. And I'm not, if anyone here thinks I'm fighting or, arguing for, this person is right, this person is wrong, I hope it's coming across as more neutral or trying to hear both sides. History doesn't separate us. I think understanding history can help explain why people sometimes see the same event through very different lenses. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's perhaps where the real conversation can begin or should begin. Yeah. And that's my, again, that's, for education, criticism, and entertainment purposes only. Now, I could probably get into some different mess. But before I do, let me come out and take a look at your comments. I see them on the screen, but they're kind of small to me because I'm looking at two screens. So let me pull up my comment section. And let's see at the top. And good evening to all of you, those of you in the bushes, those of you in the bear cave. Follow me on all social media. Sigrid, good evening, Teddy, Juju, Vicky, good evening, welcome back. And of course, my moderator is Vicky, baby Juju. Viva, good evening. Yes, FBAs, that's Foundational Black Americans. Yes. Melissa. Okay. Hey, Melissa. Let's see. That was cigarette. Let me just put that up because. Hey, cigarette. Tethers. Yes, the tethers. And you know, there's I won't say that's new, but as it's talked about more and more and more, it's still rather a newer conversation or broader conversation, FBAs and tethers. Okay. But yeah, I'm familiar with it. You can email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. All right. So let's see if we got some history. Melissa says 1.7 billion Black racial people globally, majority in Africa. 45 million are Black American. I don't expect Blacks globally to know about our experience since only under 1% live in America. That's a good point. I don't expect. No. Ignorance is usually due to lack of knowledge. It won't be the same. It can't be the same. There's different. It's not. And you're right. Black Americans compared to all the other, Blacks globally, as you pointed out. Yeah. Wow. But it's still a large population. 45 million are Black Americans. All right, let's just stop with that number. 45 million are Black Americans. How many Haitian Canadians did I say there were? Like 156,000 Quebec. And I'm talking about Quebec. I think if I go back and look at the number, I think that referred to the Quebec area as a larger part. Yeah, as one of the provinces. So compare that. Yeah. Yeah. Different. Yeah. Let's see. Annette. Hey, Annette comes in and says, if they want to open their mouths, how about 1816? Shaka Zulu's, Emmett Till's mother, is still on the Miss Gulf Coast. Yes. I hope her other children are on this app. See how their brother's name is used. Yes, it's still very at the surface. Will never go away. A bird can only turn their head 270 degrees, not 360. to get the icons of civil rights are here also. Yes. And so, Black history, American history, Black American history, and then we talk about globally, what portions of that are taught, yes, and learned in school, but to what extent, right? And the icons. Now, our civil rights leaders are, Dr. Martin Luther King, worldwide, global. Everyone knows about. I think Dr. Martin Luther King, throughout the world. Yeah. Melissa comes back and says, I don't expect as an FBA or a FBA that 99% of Black people who live outside of America would even know who MLK was, let alone anyone else in our history, because it's not theirs. I would think they'd know about Dr. Martin Luther King, but yeah, it's just like being a Black American. We would know about other leaders who are, from other countries, non-Black, and significant icons in history. We know those. So why wouldn't I expect, an icon, a global, I expect, but maybe they don't know who Dr. Martin Luther King is, depending on their educational system. That's true. Let's see the stacks that's talked about, the stats versus the knowledge to go out, earn the paper to make more than 10 stacks. Yeah, money. To threaten that. Why is that a shade? Two different types of cases, isn't it? All comments and opinions in the chat are allegedly and their own. I see our community, our own community, disrespect our historical figures, forget a complete outsider who has zero knowledge of such to be held up to a higher standard. I'm not holding anyone up to a higher standard, but I think you just generalize, saying that as a statement. I don't expect. No, because I think it's just clear there is a different background, different lived experience. Let's see. I don't expect African Caribbean immigrants to know my history as immigrants. No. And vice versa. Although, again, depends, as a percent of. I agree. But we're not going to know each other's necessarily. No. CL. And we'll say all these are your opinions and your stats. Assuming 1 point in research, 1.7 Black skin racial people globally as a percent, okay, somehow speak English and knows American history outside of America is ignorant too. Billion, okay. All right, that's the next one. All right. Assuming 1.7 billion Black skin racial people globally. All right. Somehow people speak English or speaks English and knows American history outside of America is ignorant too. God. Caribbean and Africa also have justice case too. Yes, absolutely. Very good. Not just history, but current status. Yes, yes. Current history. Black Americans still face systemic disenfranchisement. Yes. Please support the channel by hitting the like. Ashaka was an African messiah from the 1700s till the 1800s. Oh, that's old. Same state. Oh, baby. Okay. So we're going to go back and forth with a little interesting. Melissa, and your point, okay. To Annette, 1.7 billion Africans don't all share the same genetics, tribes, history, or identities themselves. Okay. We're going to stick to this for now. Tigerlicious, welcome back. Get your popcorn. It's Saturday night. It's 10:08. At least I started early enough. It's not too late. The OG child, get a grip. Your fingers aren't tired yet. Just a question. All right. Juju. All right. Got a little back and forth. So French speaking Haitian Canadians in Quebec, a province who's also a minority within Canada and even ostracized, are not real Canadian. Had separatist movement is somehow supposed to know FBA history. In other words, so far removed from the mainstream. Well, when I say mainstream, they're Canadians, but I understand your point. And to my point, for the educational system in Canadian, what do you think it's going to be directed more toward? It is probably not going to include a lot on Black American history and maybe not a whole lot on, history of Haitian, but it should. And it probably does have a section in there talking about, the immigration. Now, if that contributes, now let me just keep reading these comments because we could start talking about, like something else about immigration and how certain groups think about it here in the United States, and how let's just say Black Americans think about immigration. We all don't think the same. I don't think maybe all Canadians think the same about immigration either. Let me just keep reading these comments because I can go into something else. So I'm just trying to be sensitive. I, as a Black American, don't expect a French Canadian, no matter the ethnicity, to know my history. That's some superiority complex. Is it a superiority complex, or is it just an expectation that because you're thinking that your history, if you're immersed in it, that's all you know, or that's what you think, that's a priority. And you've got the broader world around you globally. You might be focused on your own, rightfully so. So your perspective is different, maybe. Does it mean that it's a superiority complex? We'd have to look at that, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, some boy in the Ivory Coast is in a village with no MLK sure tag. I didn't say that. I said depends also on the education, the educational system. And in some countries, yes, they may not know. You're talking about a remote village, I think, where I think you're leading to say that maybe some don't even get a chance to go to school, don't have, available technology, barely means. No, I wouldn't expect. Mainstream in any country, yes. But yes, sadly there are many, many that don't know. Or because I've said they have their own history and their own leaders, and some of their history goes back thousands of years. Morphs. American history. And the transatlantic, slave trade. I mean, some groups have thousands. Well, we all, but if you, right now we're talking about Black Americans, right? And Haitian Canadians. More specifically, we're talking about what the controversy has been around Magic and others on this platform. I've limited my, I'm just making some comments now. I think they're broad enough. Why would their educational system teach MLK? I didn't say that they would. And I doubt that they would. Now you're trying to start something, Melissa. I'm going to put it that way because I did not say that. I didn't, let's say, I'm not assuming that French Canada or Canadians were taught Black American history. To the contrary. To the contrary. Go back and listen to what I said. Did I read it wrong? Did I read this wrong? As an educated person, I'd expect you not to be that ignorant to assume French Canada taught Black American history. And that's what I said. To the contrary, I did not say that they taught Black American history. I said if they did, it would be limited. They would focus on their history first. That's their priority. Did I say that? Something like that? uh, now, and I could get a little messy, Melissa. But we'll leave that for. We'll leave it. We're gonna be respectful for. Yeah, we could. I could pull up a receipt now. Um, let's. You had some popcorn earlier. 30 joules. We're going to remain respectful, and all comments and opinions are welcome in the chat. And we can have a difference of opinion. And we can, stand firm on your opinion because it's yours. Next time, say it louder. Okay. Teddy is so diplomatic. Oh, let's go. Nigerian from Lagos to know Black history. That's insane, but I can tell you that a lot of educated, highly educated Nigerians from Lagos, whether they be Igbo or Yorubas, their tribes know Black history. Especially if they come into this country and they want to, get their citizenship. They've learned it. They've had to learn it. I see some have traveled all over the world, from Lagos, Nigeria, and know their history, your history, my history, and somebody else's history. Let them tell it. Some of them. So we won't put everybody in the same box. Now that might be just a handful. I don't know, because Lagos is very populated. Now I think you're just making points that I didn't say. Just like you make points that are untrue in other chats about me. Okay, so we're going to keep it clean. We're going to keep it civil. Okay. Melissa, you now, Melissa, can I just tell you, I know you're a troll, but okay, I'm reading your comments. I'm being very nice. And not that some of the things that, if somebody states something, even if they're a troll, and even if their account was made a couple of days ago and they're a troll, and they come in and they make valid points, I'll still acknowledge the truth if it's facts. Okay, Tigerlicious. Here we go. We were actually, okay. I thought you were tactful, knowledge, neutral, respectful, and message conveyed well. That was my intention to do. Yeah, Teddy, leave it. Me too. Temperature is rising. I see the play from the group. Well, I knew the play when it first landed, but I thought, okay, yeah. We can still. I've had trolls before, and yeah. So yeah, I know you're a troll, and so let me say respectfully, Melissa, I think you're a troll. But you can, I'll read your comments. Uh, you can email me right now at Unwind with Teddy. Picking and baiting, exactly. Facts, Cheryl. Okay. Ivy Jacinta. Good evening, Teddy. Mob and Champ. Yeah. Uh, 350 joules. Okay. Thank you so much. Mimi, twin. Mhm. Good evening, Teddy and Mob. Listening while packing for my trip in the AM. Be safe. Safe travels wherever you're going to. Have fun. 100 joules from Baby Juju. Yeah. Thank you. And 350 joules from Mimi Twin. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Finger heart. Oh, thank you, Mimi. Mimi Twin, safe travels. Yeah. And even with all of that said, I think, because they'll show it somewhere, play it somewhere. So you know what? Let's back it up with let's get a receipt, shall we? That way, people making the comments. Should I do that, guys? So that people, let's see. Oh. Let's see. Let's get a receipt. Let's just pull this one. As I have enough of them, but let's just pull this one. Make it big. So Melissa says, yep, holy fan or not of the robot. I expected Teddy to go hard and get justice, but she's just a fangirl of the robot. Now, I said I don't want to get messy. Melissa, you've been around for a while, right? Although you made this account just a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, and you had a lot to say about me. But you can still come in, you're not blocked, and we can talk about, history and everything else. And I'll be respectful, but I'm going to pull a receipt so that people know I'm not just making stuff up. So you can have an impression and say things in one chat, and then you can come over here and try to bait. I see the play, but I'm going to be respectful because even a troll can talk about history. Because I don't know you. Or do I? Or maybe I read that wrong. Should I get a different one, Melissa? Think you said, wow, Teddy analyzes this. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm trying to say all opinions are welcome in the chat and even yours, Melissa. Yeah. And you can come back. I appreciate it. I think you dropped a load and you took off. A load of comments. But your comments were appreciated. Okay. Let's go back. Kept going with it over and over and over. When she stepped through the door, she didn't believe a word I said. I don't think, or wanted to really, because I could put up other comments that I think are a little naughtier. But as a matter of fact, wait a minute. Even trying to she calls me a controlled op. You see, there's just a new narrative going on right now. It is. I don't want to put up any more of her comments. Not right now. Maybe we'll reserve it. But there was one. Let's see. I haven't had time to go through these. Let's put this one up. You see, when an up and up and up, let's do this. They have lots and lots. That's one of the signs of an op, lots and lots of comments of like, So she's talking about Teddy, me, and she's planting seeds to cause some tension like she's been doing, allegedly, but here's some receipts. She's even mocked Maggie 2 nights ago, if I'm mistaken, on the date. So here she is on one channel, planting little seeds and saying things. But here I'm trying to be neutral and talk about a conversation that I think can benefit everyone. And now she came back and said that she's still talking about me, some hostility toward y'all winning. So while people are talking, she's just good. She's got a lot to say about me in a chat that's not in a conversation. They're not even talking about me in this. But she's spending a lot of time going back and forth with people in the chat about me. Okay. Like I said, whipping up, a certain narrative. See how diplomatic I am? I think the baby Juju said, I'm not. But I'm just being honest. Did she miss the message? She was trying to bait. I don't think she got that far, except now I'm just showing her what she said. And I think I'm doing it, and I'm not. I don't have to use any foul language or anything like that. I'm just pointing out. Okay? And then she starts talking about Donat. So her goal, her aim was to say things, to plant ideas, to, a narrative. Do I know you? Melissa? Are you who are you, Melissa? No, wait a minute. Hang on. And she even, but I'd have to show you, even said something about something that I'm doing to the other plaintiff. Whoa. Planting seeds of discord. Did we run you away, Melissa? You don't want to come on back? See the light. Okay. Hang on, guys. Let's just put this up for a second. Don't you just love Saturday night? You just never know what you're going to get. You know, one night I could be like, oh, I'm ready to go to bed. And the next night, well, look what we got. Let me see. I can look for it real quick. As you can just go to the channel. If I did. Remember when I went to somebody's channel last year? Was it last year? Year before last. And they knew I was going to their channel back and forth. They're not going to play me like that. No, I took a screenshot. I'm not going to let that happen. I think I made a screenshot. I got to pass them. I'm looking for the screenshot of the channel name. Otherwise, I'd have to make one. Oh, there it is. So you know I'm not making stuff up. I don't have to make stuff up. Melissa, let's blow up so you can see it. Oh, it's covered by the comment. Let's take the comment off just so you can see it. Melissa just joined July 22nd. That will be one day after the court ruled in my case, and the next day they made a channel, and then suddenly this is somebody. So you know it's got to be a troll because she just knows too much, right? In my opinion, this is my opinion. So this isn't someone who is like brand new to YouTube, because they have a lot to say, right? About me and my case. And in a couple of days, they have planted so much. Why? So I just wanted to show a receipt. Yeah. So, today is the 25th. 3 days ago. Okay. So there you go. I say you're a troll. But I could be wrong. But I've got somebody, at least trolling me in other channels. Yep. But you're welcome to come back, Melissa, and with your history. Yeah, because history is good. Don't y'all think so? Okay. Comments. Here we go. You got a bunch of receipts too. Okay, right. Trolls always know everything than someone who has been here 7 years. That should know the obvious in this sector plays dumb. A lot of people who call people names and say things, you know, say that I'm a double op and all that. Yeah. I just, I don't want to make things up. I don't make things up. I just observe. Yeah. And then started to get a little testy at the end. Just throwing stuff out. And she knew I didn't say that. Throw out, what is it? Thrown out of the beef sector, along with 3 others. That sector had enough of your BS. OG, when's the last time Lemon told you to go to, what is that? Try me. Shade. Now what? Oh, see, people know different things that I don't know. I don't even know those folks over in the beef sector or whatever. Maybe other people recognize things. I don't know. But we in the same state. What does that mean? Cave on the grill with my Bud Light. So is the help. That's on the way. United we stand. Okay, phone down. Net. Okay. Side note. Remember in your interview with Jag, she said she would email you and you wouldn't answer her? She knows who you are. Okay. I never did answer Jaguar. I thought about it. She left it open. They kept saying she didn't know you. Yeah. People, there's lots of trolls. And people are saying all kinds of things right now. I'm going to stay, I'm Teddy. Like, this is about the worst you'll get. When I say worse, like, even with the trolls, what do you expect me to do? Then she got mad because you told Kay you would respond to her. Okay. Yeah. Right. How we doing? Anyway. Kimmy, her opponent. What does that mean? Let's see. Did I miss something? Kimmy, her opponent. Okay. Thank you. You're doing great, Teddy. Thank you. Yeah, we were doing, yeah. That was kind of like I was hoping that we like kind of wrap it up and people would walk away and feel, or think that uh that we could learn something, or that we learned something. I learned something anyway. I learned something by kind of going through this a little exercise. Yeah. It's 10:42. Now, how much more uh yes, son with the big SUNT. Um, mess should I? Yeah. And it's just very interesting. It really is. Like, you know, people want to I don't know what they want to do, but it's like I think, you know, if I wasn't isolated, they certainly want to do it now. A distraction. I kind of thought for a moment, I said, is that Blaine? Because, I was looking at just different things in the chat. I haven't read them all. I made a screenshot. And I said, who does that sound like? Depending on what, and they were definitely trying to cause some strife. Yes, absolutely. Juju. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Could be. Tigerlicious says, I guess I have to catch up. Should I? Or is it history repeating itself? Kind of. On some level, I hope not. Yeah. All these, everybody is, giving peace, offering, what do they call it? Making amends with folks, extending, you just wonder, at least I wonder what's going on. Yeah, baby Juju, that's it. If anything, that's right. We're done. Well, I was educated anyway, and I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you. And for those of you, maybe I will make this a meltdown or not. I definitely could make it into a short or two. Okay. Yeah. And I hope that when I talked about anything that I did, it was in a respectful manner during, that like going over the history and stuff. If I got any dates wrong, we can correct them. Yeah. Check out Unwind with Teddy's community wall for updates and changes to my schedule. Yeah, I think this would be a good time to say goodnight. Biggest bear hugs go out to each and every one of the Grizzlies and Honey Bears. Please hit the like on your way out and join me sometime. I think tomorrow will be Sunday. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. It's time to say goodnight. Let me put my music back on. And yeah, I'll find something else. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy.